I've just had my head blown off by a film. It's not often I'm speechless. Clearly I'm not, 'cause I'm still talking, but I've just been to see Saltburn, and wow. Wow. I mean, where do I start? Okay, so Emerald Fennell is a writer and director. She worked on Killing Eve. She wrote the, how would you put it? The book is the music and the songs. She wrote Andrew Lloyd Webber's Cinderella, but not the songs, like the actual story. She wrote that. And then she did a film a few years ago called Promising Young Woman with Kerry Mulligan, which I don't think got quite the attention it deserved because it was all COVID times. So this is her next film. And again, she has written and directed it. So she is one talented woman. Also, based on this and Promising Young Woman and Killing Eve, quite a twisted one. I mean, I don't think she is. I'm sure she's lovely. Brett Goldstein likes her, and that's good enough for me. But this is so dark and so weird and funny and... Okay, so, story. Man, I meant to look how to... right, okay. I was going to look up how to pronounce his surname, because I know how it's written down, but I'm just going to go in, and if I'm wrong, I apologise. Barry Keoghan. I'm going to go with Keoghan. It doesn't look like Keoghan written down, but that's what I think it is. He's an Irish actor. I actually don't know how old he is, because he's been around for a while, but he also has an odd, youthful, boyish look. Not odd, just he looks young. You will know him from such films as... He's been in loads of stuff. Most recently, he was in Banshees of Inisherin. I think he might have been Oscar nominated for that. He plays the... I mean, I was going to say the local oddball, but to be fair, everybody in Banshees of Inisherin is quite odd. But he's the young, troubled lad who gets beaten by his dad. So he played him. And he was in The Eternals, the Marvel film. That was awful, but he was actually good in it. He's absolutely superb in everything he's in, and they always make a fuss. Like, they made a big fuss when he was nominated for Banshees of Inisherin. They made a big fuss about the fact that he was raised in care and had a lot of foster homes and stuff. This guy is so talented, it's stupid. Like, he's so talented. And I want him to be in all the things, and I want him to be around forever, and we need to protect him at all costs because he is so interesting and watchable and talented. So here he's playing Oliver Quick, who is from Merseyside and is at Oxford. You get the impression quite quickly he's there on a scholarship. He's not sort of part of the in crowd, the wealthy, you know, Oxford pupils who've all got wealthy parents, and he sort of begins, he's quite isolated, but he falls in with Felix Catton, Felix Catton, whose father is a sir who lives in a castle. But actually, although some of Felix's friends are quite dickish, particularly towards Oliver, Felix himself doesn't seem to be as much of a whopper as you might expect for a very, 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 very rich boy. And there's a voiceover from Oliver saying about, you know, you kind of get the feeling from the beginning that you're building to something happening, and it's alluded to, but the big reveal still did shock me. So it is about how Oliver sort of worms his way into Felix's family. He does indeed get the invite to spend the summer at Saltburn, and some of the film's humour comes just from really eccentric posh people being really eccentric and posh. And I have known some eccentric posh people in my time. Certainly not on the wealth levels of the Cattons in this film, but I've known some very wealthy people, and they are odd. Like, they just can't help themselves. They're inherently odd. They don't know how to talk to people. They don't know how... I mean, I'll say they don't know how to socialise. They know how to throw parties for 200 people, but they're just weird. They all live in their own little bubbles of wealth, and they don't really understand normal people. And The mum is played, so Felix's mum is played by Rosamund Pike. His dad is played by Richard E. Grant. And they are just your quintessential, really posh, really eccentric people. And Rosamund Pike's always like, because it's set over the summer, he spends at the house, she's always swanning around in like caftans and things, and she's very beautiful. And Richard E. Grant is always, despite the fact that it's clearly very hot, always in like corduroy trousers and a checked shirt, and always looks smart but eccentric. He's got quite wild hair. And it's just listening to them just talk about their friends and people they know, and they're just so removed from reality, from the life that Oliver has come from. So he's obviously fascinated by them, and he's clearly you find yourself wondering, is he in love with Felix? Is he just in love with the lifestyle around him? But then there's Felix's sister, Venetia, and is he interested in her? And then there's Farley, who's Sir James, so Richard E. Grant's character, Felix's dad. It's his sister's boy, has kind of been raised alongside Felix and Venetia, but he's after money as well, and it's really dark, and it's comic, and it's twisted, and the music's really good, and she just makes really stylish films where some of the settings, like some of the, I don't know what the word would be, but when like you look at what's on screen, you just think it's so striking and beautiful. And Promising Young Woman was the same, with the way it used colours and all that sort of stuff. Carey Mulligan's actually in Saltburn, albeit briefly, far too briefly, playing I've just looked it up on IMDb, and I'm sure she's listed as like Dear Old Pamela. But she's clearly this like eccentric kooky woman who's, oh darling, it's like all this, oh darling, you must come and stay for as long as you need. So Pamela is one of these people who's come to stay for as long as she needs, but they all clearly hate her because she's a pain. And she's terribly dramatic. Carey Mulligan with this massive like red hair, and she's so stylish looking, but she's clearly boring and attention. And it's just watching them all interact, and watching Oliver sort of like us looking in on these people who are so wealthy that they just haven't got a clue about what somebody like Oliver, what his life would be like. It takes several turns, and I can't talk about them because it would be massive spoilers, and I wouldn't do that. And even though I went in knowing that I sensed it was going to build to something quite dramatic. Excuse me. Another yawn. Bring out the face hugger. Even though I knew it was building to something quite dark, I didn't quite call it. So I wouldn't want to spoil it for anybody, but the performances are really good. Barry Keoghan off the charts. Also has a lovely bottom. He's naked occasionally in this film, and well done to him. What a lovely bottom he has. Jacob Elordi, I don't know if I'm saying that right, he plays Felix, and he's just this absolutely, again, quintessential tall, athletic, handsome boy who's not really had to work for anything in his life. And you know, he tries to sort of downplay his family's wealth, and like I say, he just come across as quite a good guy, and not just a spoiled rich boy, but he's one of those people that people are just drawn to, you know, because he's just so handsome and charismatic and tall. And the trailers we got, but I'll keep nodding towards the cinema, the trailers we got before we went in, one of them was for the film Priscilla, focusing on Priscilla Presley, sort of telling the story from her point of view, and Jacob Elordi's playing Elvis in that. So I saw that trailer and went, oh, I don't know that guy, and then he popped up in the film I was actually watching. Also, I can't remember his name, the young lad who was the lead in Gran Turismo, which I loved earlier this year. He plays Farley, the sort of hanger-on, who is kind of part of the family, who obviously resents how popular Oliver's become with the Cattons. He's got a lot of scathing one-liners. He's also that everybody's smoking all the time because they're posh, and again, that's what they do. And dress for dinner, and you know, black tie, and it's obviously a world that she knows because she is from, Emerald Fennell is from a very, very wealthy family, but she's really good at sort of digging down into the darkness that lies underneath when everything on the surface is gold and shiny. So I could not have loved this film more. It was 2 hours, great soundtrack, looked superb, excellent performances. Give Barry Keoghan all the awards and make sure that he's just around forever, because I'm absolutely fascinated by him. That's That's it. Katie out.